Well, everybody, I want to remind you again, it's our Thanksgiving episode. Turkeys don't fly, okay? And we'll let our birthday boy here, because he vanished last week, do the introductions. I'm done.
Hi. My birthday? Oh, yes.
Well, yeah, you vanished. We were going to have a birthday show last week.
It was my,
you were gone,
you were in
so
Cleveland,
we had an anniversary show.
It was amazing. I got older over the weekend. But, yeah, my friend Rich Fiordeliso is back with us here.
Yes, nice to be back.
Oh,
and,
nice.
You know, it was fun. We went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and found a really cool Bills bar called Around the Corner. And, you know, just did some general shopping. And we had our final lunch the day we left was at the Southern Tier Brewery, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've always tried to figure that out about sports bars. I can't imagine somewhere hidden here is there like a Carolina Panthers bar. You ever think about that? Like these like.
Who would be there?
Well, there was a place at the Bay. I don't know if it's still, but it used to be a Raiders bar. And,
yeah, I know that.
And I don't know if that bar is still affiliated with that, but that was the place to go if you were a Raiders
Steelers, obviously.
You know, what city's the Raiders in now? They've changed
Vegas.
so many times.
Vegas.
They're in Vegas, okay. That's where the athletics
But my
really,
they're going to go there too. But one of my best friends, Rob, and this is not me, I don't have like this double, you know, this name, but we've been friends since first grade. He's a Chargers fan, bless him. And he goes to Champs. But what they do is they have the Bills and stuff on, but they're nice enough. He's like the guy in the corner. They put a little TV on for him to watch. He thinks he's nuts.
Mm-hmm. like the lonely Maytag repairman.
Yes, he's just sitting there working on his computer watching the Chargers. And I will say, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, you can't leave you between us. I'm so glad a Yankees fan's on the show with a Dodgers fan.
Oh, you're a Dodgers fan?
You're not leaving. You got to do the show.
Oh, man.
That's it. I'm out.
Yankees suck.
But the thing,
they were terrible.
See, I grew up on PIX with my mom's a huge. I love Nettles. Remember all the good ones? Rizzuto.
Oh yeah.
Bill White, Frank Messer. The best was when Rizzuto was tanked on air.
You know, I've watched all those Yankee games and stuff, and you know when they show highlights from years back, I saw that game live.
Is that the same
TV.
team, right?
I said I've seen all these highlights, you know, I've seen them live because I watch them almost every day when I'm home.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
Well, you know, I mean, well, who was the Mets? I mean, they've actually had a better year, right, than usual. I don't know.
Better year than usual.
They were
they were in the playoffs.
I'm finally catching up to sports a little bit. Like the Bills are actually pretty good this year.
You know, when you get a little older, you start watching golf and baseball.
Not golf, no.
No, I can't watch golf.
I'd rather watch paint dry.
Yeah. And now he's walking some more.
That's why I love the George Carlin routine. What kind of sport is golf? Okay, you hit a ball.
Yeah.
You walk up to it, you hit it again.
It's an expensive sport.
You hit it again.
Yeah.
But I had an idea, for one question. What was everybody's first concert? What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, I can't even remember my first.
Closest you remember.
I think mine was.
We're not absolutes here.
I think mine was Iron Butterfly and whoever was playing with Blues Image. I think at the War Memorial. I think that was one
you
of my
and I
first
saw
ones.
Blues Image at MCC. Remember?
Did we?
Yeah.
Nope, I don't remember. But
yeah,
if you say so.
They started out like a gang on fire. I mean, they started out with this real powerful song, and then they went.
Oh, really?
They went downhill ever from that first song on.
Wow,
they were
why
horrible.
the hell don't I would have remembered something like that.
Yeah.
There were a lot of good bands at MCC though.
Oh, you know who opened up
Outside,
for
we
them?
saw.
Seals and Crofts before they were real big.
Oh my God!
Mm-hmm.
Holy mackerel!
Yeah, the two guitar players. You know,
Yeah.
that's all they were. Two guitar players and a bass, I think.
Dan Seals and Dash Crofts or something.
Yeah.
Oh, we heard them. Well, I'm not talking about moving in.
Yeah.
Heard that song, that little nugget on AM radio in the 70s all the time. There's something about, still, I just got into it again about, there's a weirdness about that sort of 70s pop, though, like the night Chicago died.
Yeah.
But the horse with the bad directions, Wildfire. But there's like a novelty to it, but there's also like stories to the songs, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
Like Al Sturge's Year of the Cat. I mean, it's almost like a little movie.
Right.
It's got and Muskrat Love is just creepy.
Yeah, it is.
I think so.
Captain and Tennille?
Yeah, but well, they did. America
it's just
did
a weird
it too.
subject matter.
Yeah, it's like about but actually America did a version of it too. I think.
I don't know about that.
But it's just imagine singing that song and trying to, it's like ew.
I know.
But some of that stuff. But I know for my first, I would look
screaming cat love.
Yes, I was lucky that my parents like pretty much let me like watch or read or do what I wanted. I turned out fine and normal. Obviously, no comments on that, please. But so like I remember seeing Ozzy. And friends were dying to go with me, but their parents were like, "He worships the devil; he can't go." But I can't. But the thing about that is,
did he really bite a bat? Or
the story about that was somebody threw it. Somebody threw it on stage. He thought it was a rubber bat.
Oh,
so he bit it. It's like,
oh my God.
Oops! He got rabies.
Well, that's that whole story.
Now, supposedly, right? Rabies, right?
That's that whole story with Alice Cooper too, with the chicken. Somebody threw a live chicken up there, which I don't know why anybody would bring one to a show, but
it was the thing to do.
And he just ripped it to pieces.
Wow.
Or he didn't. He threw it back out, and they ripped it to pieces.
Oh.
I think if you ever want to borrow it, too, I just got a couple of his early live albums. I think I got the song. I think I got the album. It's got the so-called chicken incident in it.
Oh yeah.
He's singing sci-fi.
I bought the reissue of Killer, and and it's got a live disc from some shows in Puerto Rico. It's really good.
You have to watch out for the mentality of crowds, though. That's the thing.
Right.
That's the problem. But the thing was, if that bat had been, surprised he would have gotten rabies from Ozzy.
Right.
But the thing about first shows is I would have loved Ozzy was one of my first. And my parents, but... Oh, it's like one of those curses I bear. My first show was up with people.
Oh my God!
Which I have to blame my neighbors. There's that. Remember Kodak? Yeah. They would always the theater there before the theater. Now my dad worked there. They had the bowling alley, the theater.
Right. Loved the bowling alley.
Oh, we went to the bowling alley.
Billiards down there.
We'd have birthday parties down there. Like everybody on my street had birthday. Everybody worked at Kodak.
Make America bowl again. Oh,
yes.
Sorry.
Make America polka. I was gonna wear that, but the climate now I don't want to wear anything that looks like that. If somebody threw a beer can at me, like that's when I was walking. Well,
bowling was a big part of our growing up. I mean, I was on a league. You were on a league.
Yeah,
I was on a teen league. Freaking 10 o'clock in the morning.
Those bowling alleys are all gone. North Park Lanes.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Even Clover over here in Monroe.
Is Bowling Row still around? Anybody know?
Bowling Row's still around.
Yep, that's still there.
Oh, the league was at Terrace Gardens.
That's gone.
That's gone.
Yeah. And the weird part, we were a team. I have my trophy. We finished first one year, last the next year, which was like a good accomplishment.
Wow.
And it was really cool, though. It's one of those little movie things the first year because it's supposed to be fun. This one team was a bunch of arrogant idiots. Like it was if it was a movie, it was the trope. One of them was the coach's son. And they were just like so full of themselves. Yeah. We beat them in the championship, which is just, because one of them used to have fits and throw stuff.
They take it so serious.
Yeah,
I could never take bowling serious growing up. When my parents bowled, we would get my mom bowling. She'd have her Manhattan and cigarette break between bowling. Like, this is a sport.
My father was on one of those
while we're talking,
morning bowling
until I have my glasses on.
Picture taken.
Hey.
This is during the show live.
My dad was on one of those, the Channel 13 bowling for dollars.
Bowling for dollars. So was my mom.
Yeah.
That's actually. I'll tell you, did you ever bowl? Okay, at Terrace. Remember when they built those extra lanes? They were like to the left of the cashier. They were extra lanes.
No,
those were nasty. I mean, I used to suck. So I would scuff it all the time.
Jeez.
Well, they didn't oil them.
There was something about them though. They were like, okay, here's the lanes. They go around. There's the center, like the cafeteria. These were extra. And there was something about them where you got mauled. But then my mom bowled at Sunset was her last league.
I love Sunset.
With the little rolling little bowls.
Huh?
With the little, did they have, you got on the step, did they, you roll the ball back outside? You saw
on the outside instead of under.
And then she played euchre there, which was fierce. You don't want to mess with that.
You know what they had before the automatic scorekeeping, they had an overhead. You remember those old?
I vaguely remember. Yeah.
What they put the plastic down there? You write on the plastic.
Oh,
you see it
like a projector.
Yeah,
but that was growing up though. Was that they both? My dad bowled the leagues at Dewey. I'd go play the arcade games. But the thing was, that was every Saturday morning was leagues. Bowling leagues.
They got me into my French fry habit at 10 o'clock in the morning. Hey, let's have some fries.
I remember, you always remember strange things. And like at Dewey, the cook at Dewey, for some reason, he couldn't get my pronunciation of relish for a burger. We would go back and forth, relish.
Really? You didn't know what you were saying?
Yeah, so there's like, no relish. Like, what do you, no, you relish this? Put it on the burger here. But those are good times and stuff. It's sad there's that book by Putnam, Bowling Alone, about how there's showed the lack of community with no more leagues or everything else.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people all the time, like that whole Ridge and Hudson area there was a bowling alley, there was a drive-in.
Remember the North Park Drive-In?
Yeah. Where Seneca Towers is. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, the thing is, in that neighborhood, when we were growing up,
it was a good neighborhood.
Everything was there. Yeah. I mean, you barely had to drive a mile to go shopping, to go bowling, to go to the movies.
There was 2 guys there.
I mean, everything was there.
I've seen 2 guys together. I've seen 3 guys together. Before they were dealing drugs.
Now we got 5 guys.
Star Market, remember?
Star Market. Remember Steve Pies worked for Star Market?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, now
my girlfriends did, too.
We were actually turning this into sort of a Thanksgiving show with heartwarming memories. I'm impressed. We usually don't talk about the holiday on our
Turkeys were probably 15 cents a pound.
And I never like to say things are worse. They're just different. But, I mean, I grew up, everybody knew each other in the neighborhood, which is, in a way, bad when you were a mischievous kid, because you would get turned in by somebody, and it was a little different.
We weren't bad, were we?
No. I think I kicked the guy's fence once.
When you were asleep. When you were asleep, you weren't bad, I bet. But, everybody would watch out. We'd go play till night and everything. Everybody knew each other.
No, but we used to hang out so much. I think both our parents were like, what the hell? Don't you have anywhere else to go? And I remember your dad was always like, why don't you stay at your own house?
Really? That sounds like him.
He was so funny. And then he used to listen to the ball games on the porch, and we'd sit there and he couldn't talk during the precious ball game.
Yeah, the Red Wings.
Yeah.
Oh, that was like my mom with the Yankees. Go back to that. It's like, leave me alone.
My father hated the Yankees. He was a Baltimore fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I always think you could also mutually like some teams. Like I always sort of now I started watching more Orioles games just because they're interesting. Yeah. And you remember you had to grow up. I grew up on Laser Street, which was off of Norton, and you could walk to Silver. So we walked to Silver Stadium. So obviously, I actually saw a couple hilarious things. Is like Mike Bodiger, he's signing my program. He's like, I can't sign this. I'm, what are you being, your pen isn't working. So you had to get a marker. But I saw the last game. I saw Cal Ripken, but it was Pawtucket. When my dad and I were leaving, we heard on the announce thing, Wade Boggs just got called up to Boston.
Oh, wow.
And remember those teams, though, Dan Graham, Logan. I used to love Floyd Rayford.
Sugar
Bear.
Yeah.
I mean, all those teams. Wow. So you had the Orioles connection. Then it was just, by the time they went to the Twins, I really didn't. I've never been to that stadium downtown.
Oh, no. Frontier, now it's called, same as that. Innovative. Yeah.
And that's the other thing, too.
That's vacuum.
And that's the other thing, too. I was talking about this with people, and I know it's not perfect, but, when we were in Cleveland, we were in this hotel, and out the window, you could see the stadium, And, I mean, you build stadiums downtown. That's the way it should be.
That's the way it is nowadays, yes.
But we don't. And then they want downtown to flourish, but they don't put anything downtown.
The Mystique by the Lake, I love that term. It's
everything
awesome.
Is out.
Yeah, well, Innovative is pretty close to downtown. It's pretty close.
Yeah, but it's not. You can't park your car and walk it.
No.
How about getting rid of some of the crappy buildings and starting over?
Right.
But they had to, they get these deals in the city hall and whatever. I don't want to get. But it's contractors make deals and they want to build stuff. They don't want to.
What about people wanting to live downtown? Why do you want to live downtown? You know, they turned...
Because they want people to try and hang out there, I guess.
You know, the bank, what was that bank? They turned that into apartments.
Oh, Chase.
Now. Chase.
Where I work.
It's all apartments. Xerox. It's all apartments. Yeah. And they got half of U of R students living there.
Well, there you go. I was going to say, I'll tell you why. Because I think a lot of young people, and it's an okay thing, it's fine, they want to mimic the urban lifestyle of New York City. They want to pretend.
Not gonna do that here.
They want to pretend that they're in a big city and in the heart of the action, which there isn't any.
No.
But they want to live downtown because the bars are there and this and that. At that point in their life, that's all they want to do. So they can live at the East End, or they can live by Chase there, and they can walk to East Ave. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, they want to spend $1,500, $2,000 a month. Hey, go at it. But now, from what I heard, I mean, one of the places when I forgot his name, but he owned a couple bars that I started to kind of go to. I got to be kind of friends with him, and he was telling me the place that they built on Charlotte Street there. But I guess his whole thing was, he said that their laundry, their parking was all part of the rent. So that appeals to a lot of people too. Write one check, I don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, I mean, that kind of makes sense, but still, it's a lot of money. You got to make a lot of money to come up with $1,800 a month.
Yeah,
that's
nuts.
I
mean, they do usually city planning. They either they call it the Boston model or the Cleveland model. The Boston model's more, they're looking toward music, that type of thing. The Cleveland model's more based on sports. And I've always asked, why can't you blend them? You know,
right.
But most people don't. But I remember going to see, I forgot what that band was, that primetime funk band maybe down at Innovation Square Theater. But I always park. I like to walk, and I just noticed there's college kids walking their dogs, and there's what is that street by Lila's where they have it's almost like a little
adventure place.
Yeah, where they have all these this sort of it's like a comic book bar almost.
Yeah.
And all this, you know. So
well, yeah, that area is nice. Again, that's a good idea. They put everything in one little area. But again, you got to have people that frequent those places that are responsible people.
Well, what happened to High Falls? Remember, that was so cool there, and then it just...
Because the surrounding area is shitty.
There was one...
I'm going to go back to that whole thing.
Remember on State there was that club, and it was big probably about around 1990, and I can't remember the name, but I know my friends used to go there, and it's just gone just because the neighborhood got so bad.
And where?
It was it was on State, and I can't, but blanking on the name.
I used to go on Frank DeBlaze's show when he had the radio station, right? When he was on whatever station that was down at High Falls. And, you park your car. On a Sunday, it was no big deal because there was nobody there. But it's kind of desolate, and it's kind of like an alley, and it's it's not appealing. It's not something, just because you build, you renovate the inside of a thing, the outside of it has to be appealing too. I mean, you have to have similar buildings around it. You can't just have one building here and the museum's over here and the zoo is over here and everything, nothing is close.
Nothing's close.
Here. I mean, we have a small city, but everything is spread out. I just noticed when we were in Cleveland, you parked...
Spread out, you fools! I had to do my Stooges things.
We parked the car. We were able to stay. We took a little walk to the pier there and the river. It was nice, quiet. Then we went to the market, and then we went to a couple of... And then we, drove somewhere else and parked the car and walked to a few places. But, that kind of thing is nice. You have to plan it out a little bit, but...
Cleveland's a very cool city.
I just think they need to do more here. And again, I'm going to go back to this other story, and then I'll get off of this. But there was a campaign that Rochester had a long time ago, at least when I was still working at Chase, and I used to take walks down Main Street. And they had this picture campaign, and they plastered the front windows of all the stores on Main Street.
Oh, I remember that.
With these big murals. And they were photos, and it said the way Rochester used to be.
Right, I remember that, because I worked downtown,
What
too.
was the point of that, Rochester, to show that you screwed up? Wow, look at all the people. Wow, look at all the active businesses. Wow, look at all the cars.
It's like the sports team that used to go to the Super Bowl and they're like 1-15 now.
I mean, yeah, that's what it used to be. How about having it come back? But you can't now because streets are all wacky and, you can't. I don't know. Okay.
I want to change the subject a little bit, get back to the
That's fine. I'm done.
That's what's called the Carnival of Random.
That's right. The Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I am so perturbed that there's two bands that are fantastic, been around for years, that aren't in the Hall of Fame at all. The Tower of Power will never get into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And what about the Guess Who? They got a lot of hits.
I voted for them and Three Dog Night. Because you can vote for them.
Yep.
They had a little thing there.
Okay. Yeah, I have too. I voted too.
Three Dog Night's not in it?
I don't think so. They were on the list of...
I will cut one more Cleveland-related tangent. I went to see Ryan Adams just before we knew it was like all the loony stuff. But I saw him at one arena. You got, and it wasn't that expensive. It was under $100. You got parking right in the hotel. It's like a hotel and a concert thing, and everything else with the tickets. So you just go in, show them your ticket. You get the parkings with the ticket. There's like a motel there, a bar, everything you need, which is cool.
Right.
But that would be a thing. I mean, you realize, obviously, it's been said on the show, Gothic Toad does not accept Hall of Fame inductions. So they haven't accepted. I know the Rochester one would love to get them, but they just don't accept it. But there's always taste, and I'll just say this, and this isn't being political. You go like, okay, how do you gauge the Hall of Fame? Now, if you gauge it in terms of sales, you would say Ted Nugent belongs because he sold a lot of albums.
Who's the one that finally picks who's in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. It's pretty.
Is it Rolling Stone though, or something, or is it like?
Yeah.
I don't know who's really. I don't know.
I mean, I guess your politics have to be in line. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff goes on behind. I mean, look what that whole thing with Steve Miller's rant about the Hall of Fame and everything else.
Well, no way.
I didn't know about that.
No, I didn't know. What was that? I didn't know about that.
Somebody else did it too. Well, apparently, when you want to go there, if you're inducted, they charge the artist $1,200 or something a ticket for they give you 2 tickets, and anybody else from your family or something that wants to go has to pay. So they give a guy who sold millions of records. Okay, here's your 2 tickets, so you can bring your wife basically, and anybody else can, suck eggs. I don't. It's weird.
Whereas the WWE Hall of Fame will pay you when you get inducted. It's like which would be.
So there's been a lot of. If you look it up, you can go on YouTube and look it up. He's theirs. He complains. Somebody else complained. And then a lot of these bands, they make fools of themselves at the ceremonies, like a Van Halen or whatever. It's like
Roth, you mean?
don't bring your personal stuff. Oh, now's my chance that after 15 years, I'm going to tell everybody what a jerk this guy is.
Or Kiss.
Why bother?
With Kiss doing the big thing about, their thing, they weren't going to because they didn't want Ace and Peter there.
Right.
Which to me, I don't care what they say. That was Kiss to me till about 1980. That was the definitive.
Right. But I mean, stuff like that is just so grown people. It's like, really, you want to celebrate? Those people helped you get there. So the least you can do is let them enjoy it with you. It's 10 or 15 minutes. Then you never have to see them again.
The other one that got me was, I remember it took like Deep Purple till 2012, 13 to get inducted. While all these other bands, I think, was it John Lord or one of them just said, all these other bands that were inspired by us got in before us.
Right.
And it's hard. I mean, that's how I am about Hall of Fames in general. Take all your sports ones, any of those else that...
It's a big pool of people, and there has to be some kind of weird politics.
Why is so-and-so not in, and why is so-and-so in? You can see these lists anywhere you want to look about 10 people who shouldn't be in the NFL Hall of Fame, MLB Hall of Fame, 10 people who should. And you wonder, and it's sort of I always thought, how is it Joe Carter in the Hall of Fame for baseball? Just because if you look at his stats, and actually my friend was at that game when he hit the home run against Philadelphia in the series.
Yeah.
But how could he not be? And I was always a Nettles guy, and I could see he was probably the second best third baseman of the 70s behind Bill
He was
Thompson.
fantastic.
And he was like
baseman.
my player. And how I could see his average is a little low, but look at some of these other guys who aren't half as good. Mm-hmm. And I would always say, okay, if you're going to pick a team, who are you going to pick from here? Some of these guys wouldn't even be like third string.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think now that Pete Rose passed away, because they said he will never be in the Hall of Fame.
Because of the gambling?
Yeah, because of the gambling in his lifetime. Now that he's dead, are they going to put him in the Hall of Fame? I say forget it.
You want to place a bet on this?
No.
Yeah. I'll lay your odds.
The thing about that is there was always a theory that he would try to goof up because he's in the Hall of Fame. Anybody could be. He could be like with somebody, but he was sort of unique because
that was Charlie Hustle, man. You know?
No, and he go by till whatever he did. They always have the thing like that's the one thing you're not supposed to do is gamble.
Oh, I
Which
know.
Is good
and he lied. That
was the big thing.
That was the
he was
big
betting
thing.
on. I just think there was a new bio about him. There was a new bio out about which I thought was pretty fair. But the idea was too, he was like the king of Cincinnati in the 70s.
Oh yeah.
But and they knew he was doing all this stuff. And okay, it was the 70s. He's like had the affair with the underage girl, which I think in music and stuff that was like that was prerequisite in the 70s.
But fun.
But he was always he got in trouble with the mobster's daughter. I guess I was the mobster's daughter.
You don't
but
do that.
what happened with him was they knew he was doing this stuff, but because he was Pete Rose, they just kept it quiet.
Yeah.
But then you get the idea you can get away with it. And the only thing that bothers me is there's supposedly some games he tried to throw when he was manager against his team.
Right.
That's the biggie.
But
I mean, why don't you could put him in and go, look, you bet on baseball. You're going by, look, Ty Cobb, not exactly a nice guy.
No.
And it was him. It was, I think, Hannes Wagner. They had like some gambling thing about baseball in the 1920s.
Sure.
Because remember, these guys didn't make tons of cash then either. But if you got everybody out who wasn't a saint, we'd have like two people.
How about the Black Sox scandal?
Yeah. Which is too bad for like Shoeless Joe and some of them, because if you read about it, it's sort of a little more complex like that. But that's like the big thing. That's why the good thing now is like, I guess people who think football's rigged, they're fine with it. I have people. There's a guy I'll see walk. He has a friend. He's convinced they're rigged.
Really?
I do too, because the Vikings would have won 5 Super Bowls. Wink. But I don't know. But that's like a thing. Like, but why not? If you could pick one band and you mentioned them to go in the Hall of Fame, who would it be?
The Guess Who, definitely.
Well, I want to know. Tell me. I don't want to guess who. Tell me.
Oh, God.
You got to be quick on the show.
Who?
Who?
There he is.
Oh, I guess. Yeah, maybe because they're from Canada. I don't know. Maybe they're
No, it should be. They got British groups in there, and they got probably Australian groups in there.
Yeah, never mind. That was a dumb thing to say.
You know who made the worst? You know who made the worst ass?
It just seems like a sad commentary to like after all the years of whatever, all the struggling and all this, you get on there and you got to make the one bright moment something in infamy because you want to get revenge, or you want to just say, oh, this guy's a jerk, or I don't know. It just seems. I know there's a lot of phoniness in show business to begin with. So what's one more time?
Yeah.
Smile, take the award, and go off, and then get drunk and have a fight with the guy or something.
Well, there was like in the judgment too. Again, now it's a little different in music than sports because how do you judge? Because there was this thing I read about when one of the members of Rat passed away, and I don't want to say the wrong person. But one of the members of Rat passed away, and they pointed out one Rat album sold the whole Ramones catalog.
Right.
But the Ramones are looked at now and. Of course, I can't believe now you go into like any box store, the Ramones are the Muzak now.
Right.
Which is sort of...
Well, I remember when Led Zeppelin became classic rock, I was like, my world was shattered. It was like, really? But they're not they're like, they're modern. No, they're not. Everything just kind of goes away. What was modern just becomes passé and all that. And
what was the song was it the Weezer song? Because
someday Billie Eilish will be classic rock.
You can't. No, you should what about you? You're almost close to owning the record most bands played in. You should be elected.
Almost, yeah. Well, when I'm on my last legs, they might.
No, you won't be able to enjoy it.
Tell me something, Greg. How's the crowds been in some of these bars that you're playing lately?
Well, it depends on the place. And like the B-side is always pretty good. It was a little less than the last time.
Is there an admission charge for
No.
that? See, that's the thing. That's why. We played at Johnny's, and they started charging $10 at the door. And I think it's killed the place.
Really?
Yeah, because there was hardly any. We played there last night, and there was hardly anybody.
Oh, I
in
missed
there.
it. I'm sorry.
I'm wondering,
okay.
but I'm wondering too. This time of
I
year.
paid it before.
This time
though.
of year could be too.
I paid it for other bands, though. I mean, I just kind of expect that now. It's a small place.
Yeah.
And since I know her, I mean, that helps her defray the cost of paying.
Well,
the band,
absolutely. But it's killing them. And how many drinks are they going to sell anyways?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, and I always say if I was rich, I mean, when the royalties start rolling in from this, none of you have to worry because I'll get like a cool music club and just book people to play.
You know who we should get on? That reminds me, we should get that guy that does the door at Johnny's. You know him?
Yeah, actually.
Well, there was a woman there that was taking the money at the door.
They've been there too.
Well, there was another guy though.
Now we're going to start.
The guy in the back.
Yeah,
door. Yeah.
He's a great guy.
We're going to start a doorman series now.
Yeah.
I've been one. Hey, I've been one. I know what it's like.
We
so
get the guy from Richmond's or from Salingers.
We'll get Oz again. We'll get Oz
I
again.
still see that guy.
We'll get Oz out again.
He was there forever at Salingers. I see him at shows every now and then. But that guy, I forget his name, and I'm sorry. But he's good friends.
Show.
He's come here to play he follows a couple of my bands, and he's a really good guy to talk to. And he's Swiss. He's from Switzerland, I guess, or his family was. And I showed him this book that I got when I was in Europe that somebody gave me. It's called Panoramic Views of Switzerland. And I brought it over to him, and we looked at it. And he was like, oh, my God, this is so great. And it was like, it reminded him of, probably his grandparents' stuff and everything like that.
That's an interesting because I always look from the perspective of in having worked at bars. Unfortunately, you got to live in the real world. They got to make cash.
Right.
And I think now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think in some bars, like these days, if I want to see a band, I want to see that band. Apologies, you might be the next Led Zeppelin but I'm going. Okay, there's one band I can handle it. Now there's two bands. Now there's three extra bands. I cannot. Captain, it's all we can take these days at this age. But I understand dragging the night, and maybe these are people who just have started. And they're not, okay, we'll have you play, we won't really pay you much. Because you make most of the money at the bar. But, they have to make money, but that's the idea about now, when I went to Johnny's, our friend Dan Zay from the Thigh Masters played. And I've been there. Now, did you play it in front, didn't you, by the bar or in the back?
In front.
See, when I walked in, usually they would have...
We haven't played in the back.
See, that's the thing. When I walked in, like shows I've seen before there, Lipker Sisters or Isotopes, or in 1916, they'd be in the back. They would have maybe a little folk duel or something playing up front.
Right.
Last show I saw there was Greg Townsend out front. This time I walk in, I'm surprised. I was like, okay, there'll be the back room. They're right there. And I would say, look, it's a Friday night, and I would say, positive and negative. The negative was, I've been to Johnny's. It was probably about half full. It wasn't super. The positive though was, and what I enjoy. You can be wallpaper music. People were into it.
Yeah.
We're there. And as musicians, you got to get paid. But would you rather have a bigger group who's talking, or a smaller group who's this is awesome?
That's what I'd rather have.
Well, that's the thing. So B-side, those people are into it. I see people on the side of the stage, and they're mimicking my playing drums or whatever. They're guitar shredding or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're dancing, and they come up and talk to you, and they're they pay attention.
That's
hey,
cool.
Your guitar players are great, and blah, blah. And and then when the music's over, there's no reason to hang around. They leave. It's not a drinking bar.
Right.
It is.
But you were called out, too. Dan called out the podcasts and stuff, too. I had to push away the door. They're like, give me Greg's phone number? You can catch him at any show around. Go, is there a band playing? Probably there.
I played a gig the other night, Friday, at 75 Stutson, and there weren't a lot of people there either. It was a $20 ticket. But it was this guy named Michael Charles, a blues guy. This guy was great.
Was he really?
He was fantastic.
Wow.
I don't know how my guys in the Handle Vandals, how they got that opening thing, but we did a 30-minute quick thing. Drummer was really nice. I talked to him. I used his stuff. Had a chat with him in the green room, all that stuff. And we were just talking drums, and and stuff, and you know, just nice guys. They're road guys. I mean, they're always on the road. They got the big bus and the trailer, and that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy was such a good guitarist, and I got this documentary that they gave me that I got to watch still about his life, I guess. And I looked at his merch. He had albums there where he had dark hair and a baby face, and now he's like an older guy with gray hair, and, you know, he's been at this a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And
so have we.
Right, and you wonder how these guys can keep going, but he wants to tour and play music. And he's a really good guitar player and very, you know, personable, and I'm sure he wasn't, I mean, he probably had a deal. They get paid no matter what. But, you know, and that's what makes me not angry, but $20. Why would you not go to something like this for $20? By 10 o'clock, you can leave and go someplace else. If you want to hear a late night, you know, I mean, but nobody, I just don't understand it.
No,
even if I wasn't playing there, why would you not go there?
Yeah.
Because it's not a bar. And they had catered beer and stuff for this one.
Oh.
Yeah, so, I mean, but that's a big thing about that place. People want, well, there's no beer or nothing. Well, you really want a bunch of drunk people watching you? I don't know.
I know, right?
But anyway.
No, that's a good point about, like, mentioning a musician like that. I remember my friend Beth was on here for the Eclipse thing. We did movies together. We had one of our cameras broken because I worked at the corner. We had a fundraiser there. She found some guy from Georgia who was like a singer, like a guitarist, songwriter. We brought him up to play. And the thing is, there's all these, go all around the country. There's all these people we've never heard of who are great. You know, they just, for some reason, they never just break out or can do it or whatever. Because there is a bit of luck, you know, who you know.
Right.
It's connections.
Looks and everything.
But you got to be out there to at least throw your name in them.
And I think in the old days it was easier. It seemed like back in England, like with the Beatles, when you read about the Stones, it's like, okay, we'll start a band out. We're famous because they were looking for them. But a lot of it, I think, is gone. You know, when you figure this, I think a problem is it's the reverse now. There's so much online. You get stuffed way in the bottom.
Right.
And before it'd be like word of mouth. Like, how did we all do this, obviously, right? How did you get a record album or go see a band when you were a kid? It's like, dude, you got to, you know, or you buy the album because of the cover. Wow, this one's really good. So I bought a comic rooster because of the cover.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever bought one because of the cover.
Oh, so we all had to buy the little spaceship, the yellow, because it's a spaceship.
Yeah.
But you go, check this band out. Like the first time I heard about Judas Priest, one of my friends liked him. Like, check this band out. But then you go to a show and you go like, what'd you see this weekend? And this was, you know, back in the day, what did you do on the weekends? All you did was go to shows. I remember, like, before I would start at 5 and get home at like 4 in the morning. Now it's like, go at 8, get home at 9 would be good. But you go out, you go, man, you got to check this band out, these guys. And then they go and they go, wow, this is really good. You tell somebody else, and all of a sudden, these bands start getting bigger crowds, and they start touring, and that's how
if you go to a place enough times, you'll build the following, which is, you know, takes a while. But for the most part, I mean, the crowds have been okay, and there's been a couple that haven't been so great.
You think it's messed up a little still? 2020 just got us.
Everything. That killed a lot of stuff.
You know, and I think a lot of it's like, for me sometimes, too, I'll just apologize because I'll say, my mental health is rotten. It's hard to get me out. But a lot of times, too, it'll always be, okay, you want to go see this? Yeah. Oh, there's like 3 things the same night.
Right.
Or something like that.
And, you know, the earlier times and, you know, let's face it, our generation doesn't want to stay out super late, you know, or doesn't have enough money to be drinking.
Well, I like it. It used to be 10 to 2, and now it's 7 to 10 and 8 to 11. It's much better.
Yeah, it is better. It is better, but that's, you know, for people that want to go home and decompress and get changed and stuff, it's not so great. It doesn't give them any time.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, I mean, you have to go right to work, and then they're beat. And then they don't stick around. They leave at 9 o'clock, you know.
No, it's not like the old days, like the one podcast when I saw Michaela at Albany. I was hanging out with the band. I get in the parking lot here at 8 in the morning. Now he'd be fine. He'd be out there. He'd partying his way out. You man the ship. But still, and I think also in terms of like local bands, yeah, you want to always make money. Always. But I think it would be, you might have a passion with playing. you got to enjoy it too, and you got to just like. I think the best thing is always not me because I'll purposely I'm see you playing. I was gonna be doing this just to be an asshole. But you know, seeing people I used to be told like by like the Lift Crew sisters, you're always the one in the corner who won't dance like this. Yeah, but I'm enjoying myself. But you want to enjoy it and have fun. You want people to have fun. Not like some folk singers who want everybody to be miserable at the end of the night.
Well, even like this guy on Friday, you know, Michael Charles, he even made a crack, you know, he looked up and he goes, oh, wait, I see, let's see, he counts out, oh, all 6 of you. And, you know, but he played his ass off anyway, and I have to say, I was there, Debbie was there, and a couple other people were there. Aaron Winters was there taking some pictures, so that was nice, so that hopefully see some of those. But, you know, I even made a crack at the end when they were getting ready, when they were done. I said, my friends hang around. And
yeah, cool.
And he looked at me and he goes, you know, like he gave me this thumbs up and he said, you're a good drummer and all that. Anyway, but I mean, that was nice, but I want to see the guy, you know? I mean, he gave me a gig. So, yeah. I mean, I was kind of hoping because it was a ticketed event and he was a touring guy, I thought maybe there'd be more people.
I think, and I'm not going to get into it. I don't know if I don't know the owners. Is these days there's so much. There's also a lot of stuff out there on Facebook and all that stuff, trying to promote and remind people.
Right.
I've been asking. I just texted a friend of mine asking her when her gig was for like next week. Because you just forget, or people or there'll be the classic, which I've done more than once now. Oh, you played the other night. I thought it was this week.
Yeah, I try to do one early ad, and then like the day of, I always put something like right as soon as I get up, because I figure if people are checking their Facebook early in the morning, I want that to be top. You know, at the top, at least that'll give them. Oh man, yeah, maybe we'll do that tonight.
What do you think of these people that they get an invitation to go see a band and they put down either going or interested? They very rarely say going, but they'll put interested in going.
Well, they want.
But you know how many are going to go? Maybe 1 out of 10.
Because they want you to know they saw it. Maybe, you know. I know it's kind of BS.
It is.
I mean, a lot of times I say if I'm not sure, I put I'm interested. You know.
Yeah.
And I don't always.
I don't even
go either,
do that anymore because I don't want them to think that. I don't know. I don't want them doing it to me, so I don't want to do it to them.
Right. Good point.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't go sometimes because I like a night off, and you know, unless it's a really special thing, you know, I don't try to force it. But I want to support other people. I just have to make sure I can make it. I don't have to work the next day or. I didn't work till like 6 or 7 o'clock and then try to go out.
Yeah,
you know, like the other
tough.
night, if I work till 6 or 7, I'm not going to have a rehearsal or I'm not going to go out after that. I'm beat. I go home and that's it. It's me and the cat. Right. Done deal.
Always remember the classic, the first ZZ Top gig. There was one guy, and because he stayed for the whole gig, they bought him a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And I remember like Grimey saying back in Dinosaur, Samantha Fish played.
Are you kidding me?
And I was there. It was me, Grimey, and a couple other people. He's even going on about Samantha Fish is playing here, and there's like nobody here. And she remembers me from that every time she plays. But somebody like that, and now you couldn't get like I don't know what, maybe Essex could fit her in a little higher up.
Well, I saw her at the Jazz Fest. She did a show out at Parcel 5.
But she's great. Or like Ellie Venable, Danny and Ellie Venable, and there's like nobody there. And now she's played at Kodak Center a while back, and you get these bands. But I've seen, I remember, It's Just a Bad Night, like Greg Townsend, High Risers, packed the place. It was me and him a couple times at Dinosaur, because it's just one of those nights.
Yeah.
You know?
They don't even have music anymore, right, do they?
No, they haven't for a while. Which is good because I'm big on parking.
Yeah, that was
but
always fun playing there.
How are the gigs going for you?
For me?
Yeah.
Well, they've been going pretty good, except, like I said, last night it was a very light crowd last night. But other than that, we play Remedy at Finger Lakes, and we get a really good crowd there. We don't get a Sky Coaster crowd, but we get a pretty good crowd.
Right. Well, it's a safe place. People want to go somewhere nice. And
yeah, we're playing at Eagle Bell. When is it? Hold on, I gotta look. I'm sorry.
That's
for the show.
That Argyle
Yeah.
Grill?
Hmm?
That Argyle
Not
Grill?
the Argyle.
No?
This is the Eagle Bell.
Oh, Eagle Grill.
Friday
Sorry.
night, last night, reporter played there, and it's $10 at the door, and they only get the money at the door. They get $10 for whoever shows up, and if people want the open bar, they pay $45.
Wow.
So it's only which is a good deal because you're going to spend $35 on drinks, probably.
Yeah.
Because the $10 goes to the band and the $35 goes to
Sure,
the
that's easily
place.
2 rounds. I mean, at least.
Yeah.
Did you have? I'm just thinking of the Blues Brothers line with the good old boys. Well, y'all, we paid you $300. You drink $400 worth of beer.
So December 14th, back in town, is at Eagle Bell,
Okay.
and I believe 7 o'clock. Let me look. Yeah, 7 to 10.
What else is there besides Argyle Grill?
It's a golf course.
It's the golf course. It's like
A clubhouse
like a
or something?
ballroom,
Oh.
basically.
Well, I guess I didn't know about that.
Yeah. We played there for an anniversary party a few months ago.
Yes, you heard it here first. I did
No, I
not
have-
know about something.
No, I am.
So-
I'm just laughing my head off because we went there for my dad's birthday one year. We played around a golf, and I mean it's a podcast, not a radio show, but it's still gross. So we're on all of a sudden I started getting stomach pains. And I had a race with the golf cart.
Oh, man. Did you have a hole in one? Oh.
So hopefully we'll get some people so we can get some money out of this.
Okay.
So we can get paid a little bit out
All right,
of
well,
it.
everybody go to
Everybody
Eagle
go to
Bell.
This
Eagle
has
Bell.
actually been a good discussion, though, a little bit behind the scenes. People they think we're our little court gestures, and I've had
behind the scenes.
my good friend Caitlin. Now, her first book's out. For her first comic graphic novel is going to be out next year,
Nice.
which is going to be awesome. But one of the things is, for her, she'd be telling me, "Oh, well, you're an artist. Why don't you paint this for me?" You don't realize what do little elves bring you things of food and cater to you. But people don't realize. They think, okay, well, you're a musician. Why don't you just play? No, it's it's.
They don't realize the work we put into, all the rehearsing that we do to get as good as we get. And to get as tight as we can get.
Right.
They think, oh, these guys they're up there having a great time and getting paid for it.
I know.
No, man, we work for that.
Well, I mean, we do.
We buy our instruments.
Yeah.
I'm making -50 an hour.
Yeah, well, I guess it's just like anything else. It looks easier on the...
Well, I mean,
but it's not.
We go jog our 10 miles in the morning before the show.
Yeah.
We go up to that retreat in Tibet to purify ourselves every once in a while. No, actually, Dan Wiley from the Cosmic Rough Riders, he wrote the best thing I've ever seen about professional musicians. He said, look, I can actually probably text it to you. It's actually...
That'd be cool to read.
But it's
I'd
really
like to read that.
sort of... And every musician I've told it to, yeah, he's right. Because it goes basically... Why did I do this? It's like basically 99% of you don't make any money. I mean, I've asked some musicians who've been around 50 years, what would your advice be? Somebody getting into this? Don't.
Well, the thing, every time I get to a club and I carry my shit in, and I says, why do I do this?
Well, I would get
until I get up on stage and play.
You run into those people who are like, well, I tried as a musician and I bombed, but I'll tell you, come close, I whisper, do a podcast. Any asshole can do it.
Proof positive.
But I always appreciate that. It's I think there's also that thing when you've done something, you always I used to work at a bar and clean bars, and you realize you go in and you see somebody treat somebody working like garbage. You realize how much you go through doing it and how much they have to deal with. Or any job, people I don't look down at any work, and I always look at people don't realize what goes into anything you do.
Yeah. Well, for me, I enjoy the notice. I enjoy the actual playing. I even enjoy loading my car up. It gives me. I make a day.
Are you on an Eagle? Do you have an Eagle trip?
I do.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Well, come on, him. I mean, I've seen you do those things. I've seen people who who they won't make eye. They'll look down because you told them don't look at your eyes.
No, but when people say, "Oh man, you're a kick-ass drummer," and I'm like, "Well, really? Thanks." I mean, I still want to be humble about it, but it's nice that people. All the work you put into it.
Well, that's because you are
a
a kick-ass drummer.
Well, thanks. But the point is, you always don't think you're as good as you think you are.
That's true.
And
That's
when
true.
other people validate you, it just makes you feel good and makes you feel like, okay, I am doing this for a good purpose. I'm making people happy.
Yeah.
And, I'm utilizing all this junk that I paid all this money for. And, and it gives me an excuse. Sometimes whatever drum set I'm going to use, I clean it up, I change the heads, it gives me a chance. I don't know, it's like I make it a hobby plus a business.
Even like on this, I've gotten messages from people like saying I'm really good, and they'll just go, well, get rid of that guy you're with and you'd be perfect.
Exactly. Well,
Well, I got to tell you this. Back in the mid-'70s, I was in the band Masquerade, and I hadn't played in like 4 or 5 years before that. I didn't play at all. Then, I met up with Lex Byers and got into Masquerade, and Reinhardt was our drummer.
Right, he's great.
Yeah, great, yeah. So we were playing the Cave, and we got on break, and I said to Reinhardt, God, because we had just starting out, the band. And I said, do you think they like us? He says, well, they're still here, aren't they?
Yeah, right.
I said, yeah, good point.
We locked the door. We would charge them. You ever hear like the good like Chico Marx? What about that? It's like, yeah, we pay you nothing to come in, but when you want to leave, it's $50. But there's also, I think some people are just dicks, and like sometimes you ever hear like the one where like about, oh well, like I saw that band play, and they know you. It was good, but the drummer sucked. Or like, but I don't really. I always try. Yeah, I've seen. So I saw like when I saw Shiny Toy Guns. I've gone through this before, but there was a band. Thankfully, it wasn't a local band. I don't know who they were. And Shiny Toy Guns is from L.A., so it might have been from there. But they came out. It wasn't the Isotopes, but they had like a lab because they were like the worst band I've ever heard. It's just the way I'm sitting there, and everybody. Number one, my friend who was supposed to go wasn't there for certain reasons, but I'm sitting there looking. I look like a narc. I'm sitting back there, and I'm just looking at my watch, going, "Oh, come on."
Well, that's the other thing too. Some people think a gimmick is going to make them.
But then what
better.
I did was they were like had no presentation,
right?
And I just all of a sudden I just go, God, this music fucking sucks. Just as they broke, just as they're breaking a song where there was no. But I'm thinking too, anybody who has the guts to go up there, even, and you might not be that good, and you'll find out because nobody. But at least you made. I would never go up there.
The effort, yeah.
I was a few months ago. We were in Washington D.C.
Right.
And my stepdaughter, her and her fiance, live on the wharf, in Washington, which is very high end.
Okay.
And when everybody went to bed, I went walking around. It's like a boardwalk basically. Yeah. And there's a bunch of clubs in there, and I went into this one place and he wanted to charge an admission. I said, "Well, I'm only going to be here 5 minutes." Okay, well, then buy a drink at the bar, and I'll let you in. Okay. It was later, it wasn't real early when he first started. I went in there, heard this music, and I don't even know how to classify it as. There were kids standing up. There were no tables, no chairs. They were standing up, like a concert, listening to this music. And the keyboard player also played sax, and he couldn't play either instrument.
Yeah.
The drummer was pretty good, but it was just it was this obscure kind of music,
arty, weird stuff.
I don't know
Captain
what the hell.
Beefheartish type stuff.
The vocals were weird.
Avant-garde.
Don't ask me. I don't even know. And I said,
sounds like it. Yeah.
Wow.
I will take that back, though. The one people
I'm old. I know that.
The one people I will laugh at are the ones who think they're so great and they suck.
Did you finish your drink?
Because that's the one that
I didn't buy a drink
because I hate egomaniacs, and I hate if people. Oh, I'm so great and they suck. Well, tough for them. Whatever. That's a little. But I used to live in Alexandria. I worked on the Hill, and that's something we don't talk about here because we don't really do politics. But I used to stroll around all the time. My bar was the Mad Hatter.
Alexandria, where? Are you talking about Thousand Islands?
No, Alexandria, Virginia.
Alexandria, Virginia. Oh, man. You lived a lot of different places.
I wish, I used to work in D.C. I'm glad I did when I did then and not now. But I used to walk around Washington all the time. Go to DuPont Circle and all that. But that was my bar. But the funniest thing about the Mad Hatter was, I guess, one time Eleanor Mondale, Walter Mondale's daughter, was dating one of the Bears, and they went in and they started a big brawl with people.
Really?
I wasn't there. No.
Wasn't he running for president, Mondale?
We lost to Reagan in '84.
Reagan, okay.
Lopsided election, one of the biggest lopsided elections ever.
Well, pretty soon, Harris, you won't ever hear her name again.
Yeah, that's how it is. Like, the system, I tell people who freak out, it's like, we go on, I trust the Republic. We're not like Star Wars where it's going to come out. We are now the first empire or whatever else.
I don't want to get political here.
No, that's why we don't. I tried to. I mean, you can talk about whatever you can talk about whatever you want on here, but I always thought that people want. That's another thing about if you go see like a Joni Mitchell or a Joan Baez, you expect it, but a lot of people want to get away and not hear this stuff at football games, baseball games.
Well, I heard Lonsberry talking about Ellen DeGeneres, and she was the only one.
Somebody just told me that today.
She left. I think she went to Great Britain. According to Lonsberry, she's the only blowhard that went.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing that all this stuff that came about, I have no sympathy for all the stuff that came out about her, about like abusing her staff and stuff. It's like,
oh man,
I hate that kind of stuff. So good riddance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been an excuse to leave too.
Yeah, that's what they're all saying too. It was like sort of because she just sort of she's like mud around here in terms of her reputation and stuff. But now people just have to relax a little bit. I think it's too much of that, us against them, and I think they invest themselves so much they can't get, I've been around this stuff for decades. I'll tell you, you'll be all right.
I just think you got to get behind the winner. I mean, you just got to get behind the person and try to push.
Right.
You don't have to love them, but just hope that they do the best. And that's what we all want. So that's the way I leave it at that.
We've actually been, this is almost like we're running almost out of time, so we've just been blabbing. Isn't it fun?
Wow.
Isn't it great fun all the time?
Fast,
But we have to do a little Thanksgiving. What are some good thoughts? Like, how's your Thanksgiving, Art?
Oh, well, I love turkey for one thing. Definitely love turkey and stuffing, and I can really.
Oh, I cry though. I go by that Ridge Turkey Farm, and they're all at half. Then you go by there.
Are you talking about the one
on the ridge? The one on the ridge
Clarkson.
down by there.
I go by there all the time. I go, those poor bastards.
But you were about to die. You play Iron Man's How Will Be Like.
Well, you know what? They had another barn behind the one where they always have the turkeys. And I says, wow, they got extra turkeys. And then all of a sudden, I saw all these pickup trucks across the street, and they're processing the turkeys.
Right.
The next day, that other barn was gone.
Wow.
Gone.
But they come from raptors, so they would have killed you, so I guess it's fair play. But my mom we used to have great stuffing, too. But one of the funniest memories I ever had, we always had chestnuts. My dad forgot to slit them, and they blew up in the oven one year, which was just hysterical.
Oh, man.
So they always, every time obviously at Wegmans, I got to go there at 2:00 actually, but you
got to go to work.
Yeah, I had to work a
deal.
The
hardest working man in podcast.
I had to work a deal so I can get Friday off. Oh yeah, Friday I'm at Record Archive with Brian Lindsay for Black Friday, 3:00.
Oh yeah, cool.
So anyway, I had to work a deal, and so the guy couldn't work today, but.
I'm going to do you this favor. I'm going to remember I did you this favor.
You're going to cut me off? No, but I was just joking in my head. I was like, I went by the turkey thing. The label says fresh young turkey. I want to walk up. I'm sorry, do you have any stale old turkey?
I mean, they're in their prime of their lives. At least get them when they're about to drop. Or whatever.
Man.
But that's a good day. It's I suppose, even being here, I guess I'm thankful for it. You'll be thankful when this is over.
Well, I'm thankful I'm on the side of the ground and all that stuff still. So, hey,
Exactly.
And all the support I got. So I'm thankful.
But this has been
you got a lot of support, man. That was great.
Yeah, except for the person who left the half-eaten pizza on top of my car at that benefit. I'll find them one day. We'll have a guest on here and can I tell you something afterwards? Remember that pizza? This show's not running.
You were there at Photo City?
Yeah, I did the show. How could I not be?
Yeah, I know.
I did leave.
I didn't know you then, but I was there with my wife. Yeah,
you did not know me. How you were?
I didn't know you then.
It was fate.
Everybody knows me.
It was
I would have people come
unbelievable turnout. You got a lot of friends.
I would have people come up to me over the years, like at Caverly's especially. Oh, by the way, Caverly's 19th anniversary on Friday.
Go over there.
After you've seen Greg, you'll get crocked. So
yeah, do that, please. I love Record Archive because it's like, shop and get drunk. What can go wrong?
But it looks like we're going to have to wrap up a little. Our maestro is either taking a pee or somebody here. But it's been lots of fun having you as always.
Oh, man, a lot of
we'll
fun.
Bring you back.
It's always fun. Yeah.
We're run out of stuff to reminisce
Happy Thanksgiving to our maestro going by there, too.
Andy.
But anything else you want to add? It's been always I like on this, too, as you go in here, what are we going to talk about? We go in all kinds of directions. It's always fun. And you learn a couple things, too.
What do you got for music there?
Well, I thought we finally, because she's playing, I don't know, Drop Names in a Hat on Friday. I mean, you're playing early.
Yeah.
Drop Names in a Hat on Friday because everybody's playing on Friday. But she's playing Alyssa Trahan, I have friends in town.
Oh, I've heard her. She's very good.
Yeah, she is.
And Iron Smoke at night. Because she's like,
it's 8 o'clock or something.
Yeah, she's excellent.
Because she's like, it's like Greg's playing. Nobody will be at my show if he's playing.
I got that CD.
No, I'm going to try to make that one, actually.
But, and she said that's obviously, it's like, okay, there's a Greg show. Everybody's going to be there. Nobody will be here listening to me if Greg's playing. So I got to play at night. But she's playing at night. But this is her latest.
I wish she said that.
Hey, she said she thought you were good. Like she was saying, oh, I told her about how much you let her out. She's like, cool. But so this is her latest. It's called Songwriter Selections Volume 1.
Okay.
And you've heard this because I gave you a copy.
Yeah.
And she's playing, so we might as well hype this. But you are the guest. May pick a song out.
I got a favorite, but
I guarantee I know which one it is.
Crazy Cat Lady.
Yeah. Now you want to
Cat Lady.
Yeah, it's a great song.
You want to laugh about it though too. So she's a cat person. So after the stuff with the election, she's like, I better not post a video like this. People are going to get the wrong thing. Here's just a picture of my cats. So, yeah, we'll have Crazy Cat Lady by Alyssa Trahan, which is non-political. It's just about... We're all crazy cat ladies here.
That's right. I think it's more about caring about animals and stuff.
The way she is, probably.
Yeah.
I'm a crazy dog person. I'm a crazy boa constrictor person.
I just like the lyricism. I like the way she twisted that expression around and made it... You'll hear it when you...
Yeah. Cool, but thanks a lot, Rich.
Yep.
We'll see you soon.
Well, thanks for having me.
Up to me, all
Bye.
covered in
You're
grease.
right.
I put her in my coat, though she probably had fleas. Headed to the shelter just a mile up the street. But when I looked down, she was sleeping on me. So I turned home. I cleaned her up, she was talking to me. It was all I had, so I gave her some cheese. Decided we'd go to the vet in the morning. I called my mom and canceled my plans. Couldn't make anyone understand. They all called me crazy cat lady. She claims the bed for herself and the lazy boy too. Had to put her on a diet by the time she turned 2. She earned her keep catching spiders for me, and I spent all my money on toys and treats. A best friend I never thought I'd have. And she never warmed up to my boyfriend, like she was saying I told you so when he left. Watched her push his picture off the bookshelf. My girl was there to get me through, way more than my girlfriends could do. They all called me crazy cat lady. One night I came home, didn't hear her bell. She hadn't touched her food, and I could tell. And when I found her, I tried not to cry, but we both knew it was time. I picked her up, she was talking to me. I could barely hear her, I knew she was weak. decided we'd go to the vet in the morning. I called